All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Travel Talks. Appreciate you joining us. The show focused on discussing Black history, African travel, and more. So we're definitely tuned into that. As usual, let me know where you are watching from. Drop it down, your name and location down, or you got your name. You can drop your location down in the comments. I always like to tap in and see where our people are joining us from. I am in the south suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. I'm looking forward to having this discussion with you here today. Hey, Houston, Texas. Dr. Lewis, Dr. Anita's always with us. Appreciate you, sister. Lawton, Oklahoma. All right, Ohio's in the building. Hey, Sheila. Hey, Nicole. Appreciate y'all joining us. Let's have a pretty good show today. I got some good stuff. I wish I would have shared a little bit more of that. So I always want more after the fact. But let me pull up my presentation and then we'll dive into the conversation. Today, we're talking about the North African region in Africa, right? So I'll give you a reminder. Africa's broken down into 5 different regions. We'll talk a little bit about that. I got a little bit of history that I want to discuss with you. And no matter if I do this every week, I still don't know what to click. All right, there we go. All right, I appreciate y'all joining. Let me jump into our intro, and then we'll dive into the information for the day. I'm getting there slowly but surely. One of these days, I'm going to learn how to operate this all correct the first time. All right, give me a yes in the comments if you can see my screen. You should see the Travel Talks logo. All right, yes. All right, thank you. Got that going. All right, let's dive into the conversation. Welcome to Travel Talks, where we embark on a journey of discovery with Sankofa experiences, powered by Urban Intellectuals. I'm your host, Freddie Taylor, the CEO and founder of Urban Intellectuals, here to guide you through our African diaspora's rich history and culture. Sankofa Experiences is more than just travel, it's a movement. We dive deep into our roots across Africa and the diaspora, turning every journey into a powerful connection with our ancestors. Our mission? To make the exploration of Black history accessible, inspiring, and informative. Join us as we share insights from our travels, celebrate our history, and foster a deeper understanding of our collective identity. With Sankofa Experiences, every destination is a step closer to home. Let's explore together. Welcome to Travel Talks. All right, welcome to Travel Talks. All right, it's our weekly show as we get down and talk about, traveling the African diaspora, bit of our history and our culture as well, and, being prepared for moving around this globe. But as I always mention, there's a lot going on inside of the company, so let me just get you up to date on what's happening right now. Stolen Identity Symposium, that is happening on Saturday. It is in this Zoom environment, just like this. And it's absolutely free. Ashley, if you could drop the link down in the comments for me, make sure that everyone is registered for that. If you're going, give me a me in the comments if you're already registered, or if you aren't, please make sure that you go ahead and do that. Coming up on August the 13th, we got a very special surprise guest that's coming on to Travel Talk. So make sure that you don't miss that discussion. Then I'll be talking about it leading after the symposium and after a couple of other surprises we got going on. We'll definitely be building that out as well, but make sure that you register for that one as well. But you don't want to miss that one. I'm going to keep it a surprise for now. Morocco info session is happening on August the 15th. So if you're interested in going to Morocco, we'll talk a little bit about Morocco here today. But if you're interested in going, we're going to do a deeper dive into that particular trip on the 15th of August. And as usual, if you have any questions or want to know more about a particular trip, you can always reach out to us at support@sankofaexperiences.com, support@sankofaexperiences.com. Hey, Ashley, check me out. I actually got the email right that time, right? All right, are y'all ready to explore North Africa? I put together a nice little conversation for us today to talk about it. Let's dive in, right? But first, let's remember that Africa is a continent and not a country, right? I was watching some videos earlier today, and people were literally calling Africa the poorest country on the planet. And the video was making fun of them really because it was showing all the riches of Africa, the modernized cities of Africa, which you only see those huts and you see the stuff out in the wilderness. And they make it seem like that's the whole continent. But as you're reminded with urban intellectuals, you're being lied to, right? Small wins. You're being lied to, right? There's actually a beautiful continent of people there, but there's 54 recognized countries, 5 regions, North, West, East, Central, and Southern. And we decided that we're going to start focusing our travel talks on each particular region, right? So we're going to do more conversations like this. Today in region, we'll be discussing North Africa. Region 5, where we travel to is Morocco and Egypt. So we'll be focusing on those. But before we dive in and really just start talking about, the travel experience there in Morocco, there in Egypt, I thought that it would be a pretty good idea to talk a little history, right? Talk a little bit about the region and like what has transpired. In particular, I wanted to speak on the North African invasion, right? The invasion by whom? Who invaded North Africa? Y'all, let's see who's in the class today. Who invaded North Africa? Right? Who didn't invade North Africa, number one, right? But who invaded North Africa and is prominent there today? That should have been that was the giveaway there. But it's the Arabs, right? The Arabs moved into North Africa, right? Europeans, I should have waited a little bit. Portuguese, that's definitely great guesses. But if you remember, let me come on camera. If you remember, I don't want to bore y'all with all my bullet points, right? I ain't get my pretty pictures up and all that good stuff. Maybe we'll circle back to this. I get a little bit deeper. But if you remember that, actually, I'm lying. Let me stop. I'm gonna stop. Let me keep going. You have to remember, right? Ancient Africa, right? Let me bring this up. Ancient Egypt, in particular, is a Black African civilization, right? That was brought to the world, and on our travels, we'll really dig deep into that history and culture, right? So I'm on where I'm starting at. Don't hold me to acting like I don't understand this is a Black and African civilization, in particular, the Nubians, right? The Kemetic people of that particular area. And on our journey into Egypt, you'll learn about all of this as well. But give just a little pre-Arab invasion background, right? You have to kind of think about it's one of the world's oldest civilizations, spanning 3,000 years before the time of Christ, right? So we're talking about 5,000, 6,000 BC. There's documented history, and you'll see. I mean, we'll actually go into the tombs. We'll go into the Great Pyramids. You'll cruise down the Nile when you come to Egypt with us. So you'll see all of this for yourself and learn a deeper understanding. But 332 BC, and I should edit this on the spot because I dropped it in there. I hate this. Greek occupation started 332 BC to 330 BC when Alexander the Greek, not the Great, right? I hate that. We're gonna tell the truth, right? Tell the truth, shame the devil. But Alexander the Greek conquered Egypt in 332. So you already have, and he established the Ptolemy, right? I can't say that word. Polytomic. Okay, I'm going with that. Kingdom there in the region, right? So when you get there, when you come to Egypt with us, you will get an understanding of identifying this particular era versus the Kemetic era. And there's some obvious signs once you start to know and get familiar with the history and the culture there, right? But the Greeks introduced the Hellenistic culture and blended with Egyptian or Kemetic traditions. Cleopatra the Seventh was the last ruler. I'm just going with ruler. I've just been butchering that word up. I was famously involved with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. So you have the Greeks coming into this area, right, prior to the Arab invasion. So that's one thing that I wanted to get across. Number 2 is the Romans, right? The Romans occupied this region, particularly Egypt, after the Greeks, right? So they came in, Cleopatra passes, the Romans come in, and they start to build their particular empire and their influence in this area. And of course, they're using the history of this civilization to continue to dominate. It's no different than today. BCE means before Common Era, and then you'll see CE as Common Era. Good question there, Juanita. Yes, so yeah, that's what that means. All right, so we have like a period of Greek history there in Egypt. We have a period of Roman history there in Egypt or in Kemet in this North African region of this beautiful civilization that was created, right? And you see everyone trying to claim its origins. You will even find that some of the modern Arab culture are claiming it themselves, right? Like, so everyone is trying to take claim. But then there was a period where the Arab invasion into North Africa really happened, right? And this was the 7th century. So this is the rise of the Arabian Peninsula under Muhammad, right? So Muhammad really expanded the Arab influence in, I guess they call it the Arabian Peninsula, right? In the middle, quote unquote, Middle East, right? Disconnected Africa, right? But the Caliphate era was really marshaled in after Muhammad had passed in 632 CE, right? So the Common Era, right? So we would call it AD, after death, right? But during this time period of the invasion, the Arab forces led by General Amir Ibn al-Az began their conquest of Egypt. So there was a decisive battle there in Heliopolis in 640 CE and led to the fall of Alexandria in 642, which was one of their real strongholds there in the Roman Empire. Y'all know it fell from the inside and all that good stuff. We all know Greek and Roman history, right? Unfortunately. But Egypt became a crucial providence in the Islamic Caliphate. They are still in power today in this particular region of North Africa in general, right? But facilitating, the expansion through North Africa. 647 Arab forces began advancing on the Maghreb region, right, which is current day Liberia, Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco. It was like a gradual growth. And you get resistance from the Berbers. The Berbers are the indigenous North Africans, right? So when you go, what's funny is like when you go into, I should have had all these pictures up, right? When you go into Morocco, right? And I was there with 94. My father, he was 88 at the time, right? So years ago, we were in there, and like when you negotiate, right? Again, bartering, it's like a big thing there in Africa, right? All right, we're really when you travel in general, but I'm negotiating, and I had just read a book called Never Split the Difference, right? Which is a great read, by the way, written by FBI hostage negotiator. But anyway, I'm like negotiating super hard, right? And then at the end, when I got the number that I was comfortable with paying, he said, "Oh, you're a real Berber, huh?" And like, you know, the comment went over my father's head, but I know the history. I know what he was saying, right? He was talking about the shrewd people that was in the area that they eventually conquered and dominated, that you still see in the recesses of Morocco, Tunisia, and these areas, right? It's kind of like when you go into Paris, they show the camera on all these European folks. But if you look outside the lens, you go outside the popular spots, it's all these black folks. Same when you go to Brazil, same when you go everywhere, right? You find out that we are literally everywhere, right? But all of this is true of that particular region. Again, talked about that. Let's see. All right. Yeah, so they started to establish bases in and along the era. By the 8th century, Arab forces continued westward, reaching Morocco. 711, by 711, the Arab presence was firmly established in the region, leading to gradual Arabization, right, and Islamic rule of these areas, right? Which is real interesting because if you know 711 AD is also the time that the Moors crossed the Iberian Peninsula and went into Spain, right? Spain and Portugal, which they ruled for 711 AD to 1491, right? 1492, your talk, Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand got together and got rid of the infidels, right? So they actually finally defeated the Moors there at Granada, which is in southern Spain, which is a beautiful military fort, really up on a hill there, that when we get our Spain and Portugal trip together, we're definitely going into that area so you can get that history. as well. Now, where my history falls apart is I'm not really sure what happened to the Moors, right? I'm trying to figure out exactly when did they arise, where did they come from. I get like history reaching far into the Middle East. It's really interesting, but then you get the conversation about going into Spain and Portugal, but then like what happened to them afterwards, right? There's an argument that we're the Moors, right? And that was the punishment for moving into Europe was the transatlantic slave trade. I don't know. These are just theories, right? Just stuff to talk about, right? Chew on while y'all at the barbershop and all of that. But it's a really interesting story, right? And a lot comes out of that. But what I did want to point on, what I did, look at the replays from Miss Gwen class. Look, she covered the more. Look. I am behind on these classes. I got to get caught up. I was just getting that set up yesterday. So yeah, I got to get caught up on all that. I got a bunch of questions. I need to be in class with my hand up. But what I wanted to mention here is the Arabs moved into North Africa during the 7th century, and that's when their slave trade started, right? Like we're always talking about the Western slave trade that started, I guess we're reporting 1619, right? 1485, 1455, the Portuguese began snatching people off the coast. But the Arab slave trade started 1,000 years before the Western slave trade, but it went east, right? So they sent Africans eastward, and it lasted long. I mean, some of it is still going on. We're just being honest with what's happening in Central Africa and the Congo and all of this. So it just makes for a real interesting conversation. But I wanted you to be aware of why North Africa, why when I go in there, I'm going to see all these Arabic people, right? And not all of them are trying to rob and steal the culture. Some of them are, being truthful about what happened, what is going on there, and who's behind the great civilizations in these regions. And those are some of the guides that we have, right? Like I can't say about all of them because when you get to talking about Kemet on the internet, I mean, you get these folks jumping out and saying the craziest stuff. It is unbelievable. But they really act like we don't have any understanding of history and culture. But I think that's why it's important that we push back and continue to learn and develop. So I just wanted to give a little bit of context to what is transpiring, what transpired in particularly Morocco and Egypt leading up to today. If you decide to come on an excursion with us and take one of these trips into these regions, you're going to see a heavy Arab population, a heavy young Arab population. Africa in general is young. I think we've been talking about this. The average age on the continent is 19 years old. When we go into Morocco, Marrakesh, which is the capital city, like the average age there is something like 17. Like it's a real young city, right? So it's really interesting to observe, and it's definitely a good time. I'll say that, and it has some beautiful sights involved. But I did want to share a little bit of the travel details. I think we got some of that on here. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. All right, so if you decide to come to Egypt and kind of see these experiences up close and personal for yourselves, here are our pricing. This is the pricing moving into Egypt. It's $51.35. You get your visa upon arrival. There's no vaccinations requirement. We have 5 dates available, and all meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner are included in this trip. I've got a couple of days in Cairo. We fly to Luxor. We cruise down the Nile. We see Abu Simbel. We go into the great temples. It's a beautiful experience, but all of that is available on 5 different dates. I believe Ashley's going to drop the link in the comments. Yes, she's already ahead of me. Then similarly, we have an experience there in Morocco for $44.99. Visa not required, no vaccinations required, and there's only one date available to move into Morocco in 2025, right? So you have a number of options for Egypt, but Morocco would just be our first trip as a group. I've been there. I definitely enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to bringing our group there. I think we got about 25 on that trip, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Sister Ashley. But we stopped at 30. That is our number. But here's some of the pictures of people enjoying some of the excursions with us on the Sankofa experiences. But I want to open it up to see if you have any questions or concerns or thoughts. You can raise your Zoom hand. I'm trying to be quick today, Dr. Anita. Like I'm learning my I was moving in and out. I know y'all was like, man, he came in and it was like just going. But yeah, that's I'm trying not to make them all an hour, right? I'm trying hard. All right, so any thoughts or any questions that y'all might have, I definitely need to jump into Gwen's class. If you don't know, we teach live Black history classes to adults and children here inside of Urban Intellectuals. We're getting ready to unleash, I guess, right? I got me Chat GPT talking. To unleash our new format, right, inside of the classes this Saturday at our symposium on August the 3rd. Okay, Ashley's got both of the comments down. Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about everything that's back there, but right now we're teaching live Black history classes. And Dr. Aiden just joined the staff, right? He just did his first one. Dr. Anita, you enjoyed that? Yeah, I got reports. People were like, look, you need to go into the portal and make sure you bring up this overview that he did. So I'm really interested in that. And I got to catch up with Gwen's classes. It's just, man, it's a lot going on. So yeah, so we teach live Black history classes once a week inside of our membership, but members only access and information. So you want to make sure that you tune in August the 3rd, Saturday, August the 3rd, and come and join us for our Black History Symposium. Stolen Identity is our focus. We got an excellent lineup, as usual, coming out to talk to you. I got like some surprises, right? Because I don't think y'all ready for Dr. Vedette Coleman Robinson. She is going to blow you away, but she is the executive director of the Association of African American Museums, right? It is, yeah, Doc, we curated this one kind of special, right? Because she's gonna sprinkle a level of conversation on top of this that I wasn't really ready for. But our museum system is something that we don't take advantage of, and we really need to. There's over 350 African Black museums in this country. Like that is insane to me. So I'm giving away some of the secrets, but y'all can come on out. Make sure you come out Saturday. It's going to be a great time and a great discussion. All right. Anybody got any questions for me? Any thoughts or anything that you need to know? You want to know? Sorry, what are the dates for the Egypt trip? Oh, that's a good question. I don't even think I showed them, honestly. So you're not missing anything. You're holding me accountable, right? I just dove into my conversations. Yeah, thank you, Christopher. Hey, Christopher, you gotta catch me sometimes, man. I just be running and just be thinking I done said something. I ain't even said anything about it. All right, so what I'm doing is, oh, okay, I could have pulled that screen up. I was going to the website. Thank you, Ashley. So Ashley just dropped that in for me. If you click the link, you can see the dates, but I'll make sure I bring them up on the screen here. Yeah, so we have dates available. If you're interested in 2024, right? So October 29th to the 26th, November 9th through the 17th. And then in 2025, we got February 8th through the 16th, April 26th through May 4th, June 28th through July 6th, and October 25th through November 2nd. So it's pretty spread out and spread around. So you have a lot of choices to get on a trip that makes sense for you, again, while spaces last. And then the date for Morocco, while we're at it, let me drop that up here. Oh, y'all can see my screen. Yeah. All right, March 21st through the 30th is our Moroccan experience. I'm looking forward to that one. How much walking is required? Good question. Which trip was that, Juanita? Was that Egypt? Egypt is more, okay, Morocco. Okay, yeah, that was the bookend. They're both a good bit of walking. We're not be walking far, but you know, you're going to be on your feet. You're going to be going through the temples, going through the museums, and seeing the stuff firsthand. The cruising down the Nile is easy. You can just sit down and relax, right? Egypt, in particular, have a replacement surgery soon. Okay. There's a good bit of walking. I'm not going to steer you wrong about that. But you can always opt out, right? So if you're like, all right, this is just too much for me, I want to sit down for a while. We'll definitely leave people with you. We're not going to leave you alone, but we're going to make sure that you're well taken care of and able to get where you need to go in time. But like if you're like, hey, I want to take a day off, or you know, I'm going to skip that excursion, or whatever the case may be, all of that is possible as well. I just, you know, you got to make sure that you feel good. I don't know. I haven't had my hip replaced. I don't know. Listen, I gotta defer to you on the pain or the recovery, right? Because I guess you just got to get the moving. We do have like a good story of a sister that lost almost 40 pounds before the trip because her doctor was saying, you know, I don't know if this trip is going to be good for you. And her family was trying to hold her back, but you know, she just set a regimen and a plan and a goal. She said, I'm not going to let anything stop me. I don't know again what the recovery process looks like, Juanita, but I'm wishing you the best. I hope you get an opportunity to have this experience. What is the best month for travel to Egypt for moderate temperatures? Moderate temperatures. I don't think there's anything moderate in the continent. I will say October is hotter. February was cooler, right? I got an opportunity to go there like back to back pretty much. And at night, cooler at night. Let me put that in there, right? Because it's gonna be hot during the day, right? But it gets cooler at night in February. Just a lot hotter in October. So like that fall area is gonna be hotter. And then that spring, probably up to our early summer is cooler. They're almost like flip-flop of us. So if you kind of think about that, it's a little off, but that would be the balance there. But it's all an incredible experience, right? And like when you get into the temples, they're gonna be hotter than you imagine anyway. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, whether you're there in October or you're there in the spring, like it's still gonna be hot in there, but you're just gonna be so stupefied by what you're seeing, learning, and experiencing. I don't think that we let that bother us. What type of clothing is preferred? Um, well, you know, there's kind of two schools of thought on like the clothing. One, there's no restrictions, right? We just ask that our travelers leave America in America and respect everybody else's culture, right? We're going into a different community, a different country, so let's respect their culture. It's not required that women cover up or any of that. None of that is a requirement. These areas, both Egypt and Morocco are in the G20, right? So that alone eases the travel restrictions. Let me put it that way, right? But also tourism is a big part of their gross domestic product. So they cater to Westerners coming over there, right? So that's why you don't have the dress ban or anything like that. But we just ask that you be respectful of other people's cultures. I'll say that. We're all adults, right? Y'all get what I'm saying. And as far as like, you know, should I cover up while we're in the sun? That's what I was getting at two schools of thought, right? Some people like, you know, you want to wear it. I believe the hats are a great idea, right? Like you get that, I don't know what they call them, but like with the big brim around it so you can be in the shade all the time, right? Like I definitely started to take bucket hats now, trying to cover up. But then some people like to wear long sleeves to keep the sun up off of them. Some people want to wear shorts and whatnot. You really have a range of options. You don't have to worry about the insects or anything like that, like West Africa, where malaria and yellow fever is running. So you really have an option, right? In fact, man, I saw like an amazing packing tool, right? Like a cube or something. Like you put your clothes in this cube and then you vacuum seal out the air and it compresses your stuff. So I said that because that way you can bring a variety of outfits with you, right? So Ashley's going to be hunting that down so we can add that to our Amazon store, but I'll definitely be purchasing a couple of those. Personal fan is a must. Yeah, I'm about to up my personal fan game. I dropped it in my Amazon cart for Prime Day and then didn't purchase it, right? I had a couple of things in there that I'm gonna pay full price because Freddie wasn't paying attention. Um, Linen and hemp clothing there, that's not a bad idea as well. Things that are breathable. Man, it's gonna be hot. I really don't care what you wear. You gonna be gonna be hot. But I love the fan idea. And then keeping that sun off of you as much as you can with big hats, I think is great. The vehicles that we'll be traveling in are air conditioned, right? So you can get some reprieve there. When we go into the museums, the restaurants, all of this stuff, the hotels, all of that is going to have air conditioning and everything like that. It's just when we're out at the sites that you're going to be in that sun. But I wouldn't let this stop you, right? Don't let a little bit of travel, don't let a little bit of sun hold you back from having these experiences of a lifetime. All right, best months. There we go. Light linens. Okay. Went on excursions. What about bathrooms? Good question, Nicole. Because let's just say these North African countries are different, right? When you go to the restroom, there's restrooms. We'll have places that we'll stop and we'll use, but they're gonna sell you toilet tissue. Like there's not going to be any toilet tissue in the bathrooms. They're going to sell it to you, right? So we do recommend that you bring your own, right? We got purses, and we got these crossbody packs or backpacks or whatever you have. Bring your own toilet tissue. I would definitely have hand sanitizer available. The water usually works or whatnot, but everybody's hustling, right? And this is something. Man, I'm gonna have to go dig through my videos. Ashley, hold me to this. Go dig through my videos and see if I have. I know I got videos walking around, but you got it. When I tell you everybody's hustling, like they hustling everything you can imagine, right? Um, it's comical. It can be a bit frustrating at times because they're pretty aggressive, particularly in Egypt. I think Morocco is more laid back than Egypt. Egypt's the most aggressive place I've been when it comes to people selling, like selling in the what do you call it? The market, in the market, right? So when you go to the market and you're selling there, it's like the most aggressive thing. It's actually a great beginning place to travel because everywhere else you go in Africa, you think they're laid back. Right, you're like when you go to West Africa, you get in that Senegal or Ghana or Nigeria, whatever, wherever, right? You're gonna be like, man, they don't even want my money. Like, like in Egypt, boy, like they are at it. It's pretty aggressive, but you'll be fine. It's fun. It's fun. Yeah, it was like that. Look, I'm telling you, Juanita, Egypt makes Ghana look laid back and relaxed, right? Do the hotel have tubs or just showers? That's a good question. I had both. I've experienced both. Um, I've had rooms where it was just showers. I've had rooms where you got like the shower and then the separate tub. So that's a good question. Let's see. Has been a blessing. Oh, that's good, Dr. Anita. I appreciate it. All right, the teacher begins next week. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I won't be able to see you on Tuesdays. That's all right. Yeah, we'll be right. Yeah, we still gonna have ways to connect. We're gonna be ramping them up, by the way. So that's good. Yeah, it was like that in Ghana. Yeah, I'm telling you, Ghana is laid back. West Coast of Africa is kind of laid back. Like Ghana is a bit more aggressive than I experienced in Senegal recently, in Sierra Leone, but Egypt's another level. But yeah, so if you were able to navigate Ghana, you'll be fine in Egypt. And then once you master the art of ignoring folks and just keep walking, right? Like you come over there, we try to be so polite and accommodating, right? But it's like, just know that person ain't gonna be offended. They're just gonna turn to the person right behind you and start selling, right? So I like to say, if you're really not buying, just walk, right? Like just don't pay attention. Okay, food and drink considerations. Do we have to be concerned about harmful bacteria? Good question there. No, you don't. When you're eating in our designated areas, right? We don't recommend that y'all venture off and just eating eating street meat, as as they say in New York, right? We're not buying at the markets, we're not buying foods unless you can peel it, right? Like if you're getting like I'm a sucker for mangoes, right? Like, so I'm getting the mangoes, I'm peeling them, and I'm getting to the stuff on the inside. But generally, we'll be eating at particular restaurants that we've already set aside, or we'll be eating at the hotel or on a cruise ship in the case of while we're cruising down the Nile. So good question. And then we're not drinking the water at all. So bottled water, everything. They say we'll let you know at the hotels if the water is being filtered so that you can use ice, right? Because that's always something that we don't really think about. But I generally just go with no ice and bottled water. And that's just generally my rule when I'm traveling. And I haven't had any problems. We'll let you know if you should brush your teeth with the water or should you use bottled water, right? And there's ample bottled water that'll be provided, right? So we're on top of all of these things. If you have like dietary restrictions, don't worry about any of that. You can eat anything in Africa, right? So if you're vegan, if you're vegetarian, if you're pescatarian, like don't worry. The menus cater to everyone there. Good questions though, right? Exchange money there or ahead of time. Juanita, I tend to exchange my money there. But you could do it ahead of time if that makes you feel more comfortable. Well, when you come in and you land, you see the urban intellectual signs and all of that, we'll guide you to the places to exchange your money in the airport. And then sometimes you can actually exchange your money in the hotels as well. Oh, and the ATMs work, right? So you're just going to have to alert your bank, let them know that where you are in the world. And then you can pull money directly out of the ATM in the local currency, right? And I've done that pretty much everywhere that we've been. Do we advise traveling outside of group activities? You'll have some free time for you to go out, but there's always safety in numbers. I stutter because I always lean on be caution, be exercise caution, right? And I just prefer you to be within the group, but sometimes people want to go somewhere. But like if you coordinate and talk with us, and like we got a free day or some free time or something like that, we can make sure one of our guides is with you, or a trusted advisor is with you, right? Because that's just the important thing, is making sure that you get back safely. I always say on these trips, you're an adult. You're an adult. You can go anywhere, do anything that you want to do, right? But like if you get off of our trip, right? Like we can't be responsible for what happens. I know while we were there in Egypt and while we were in Ghana at night, like we ventured off and walked into some of the nightlife, right? And had those experiences. But I'm comfortable on the continent, right? So that's different. I don't know, like maybe it's your first time. Maybe you might want to be all right. Stay easy. If y'all got, particularly if you come into West Africa, if y'all are members of organizations like D9 organizations, they're there in the area. So if you reach out for them ahead of time, yeah. If you reach out to them ahead of time, they'll come pick you up, right? Like I'm the cues, right? So I've done that, right? Every time I touch down, I find out there in the area. Like I reach out to them and then, go outside. Cause I just want to see, right? I'm like, man, I'll sleep later. Like I'll sleep on that long flight back, but I'm always just trying to have different experiences. Some of our travelers have family in the area that have come and picked them up, and then they stayed a day or so with their family members and then come back and gotten on the trip. So again, you're an adult. It's definitely your trip. It's your experience that you want to have. So we're okay with that. What about in Morocco? Yeah, kind of the same in Morocco, right? Really is all over. Like you have an opportunity to venture off, or like say something's on the itinerary. Hey, you like, I really want to go see this instead of that, right? Like that's totally fine. We'll keep you abreast of our meeting times. Oh, this is good, because while we are traveling, everyone is downloading the WhatsApp group, right? So you're getting the WhatsApp, and then you'll be loaded into a WhatsApp group for that particular trip. So all of the details and dates and times and where we're going will be in that group, right? And it'll be updated daily. And at first, everyone won't have access to comment and stuff, just so, The important information is getting across for you. Hey, y'all, listen, we up at 7 o'clock. Breakfast is at 8. We're leaving out at 9 o'clock. Make sure that you're there. All of that information doesn't get pushed up in the excitement of being on this trip, right? Because in the group, you're going to be sharing pictures with fellow travelers that you're with. You're going to make some new friends. Everybody's going to be uploading their videos. Can you send me this? So we don't want the important information of where we're going, what time we're leaving, and all of that to be lost in the sauce, right? But yeah, good questions. The cost of guided tours included in the overall price. Yeah, everything is included in these prices. So like even when we go into the pyramids or we're going into the old city there in Marrakesh, right? The local tour guides and the all of the entrances and stuff that we'll go into the museums and the guys there, all of that is included, right? So we've negotiated all of that. What are the dates? I'll get to you in just a second. Electronic device charging, is there a cost? I would bet in Egypt, if you want to use somebody's portable charger, they go charge you. But when you're in your hotel room, when you're on the bus, the transportation unit, you can always plug in right there. There's a USB access there. You're definitely going to want to make sure that you got a converter, right? We're not using the same ampage as Africa, so you just buy one of these converters. And I believe in the email sequencing, when you sign up, we'll be sending you all of this information, so you have an opportunity to purchase yours. But you just want to make sure that you got a you want to make sure that you have a convertible device, right? And we'll have I thought I had my bag up here. But I'll make sure that I show that. But they're pretty common. I've learned now to get one that has multiple inputs on it, right? So you can charge multiple devices on the same charge, right? Because for whatever reason, there's not a whole lot of ports in your room, right? In Africa, right? I don't know, it's a different place. But here are the dates for Egypt. Again, 2024 dates down at the bottom, late October, early November. And then 2025 has a February trip, late April, early May trip, late June, early July trip, then late October, early November trip. So those are all the dates. But if you click the link that Ashley dropped down in the comments, it'll take you up here. Then you can click it and see the full itinerary and everything there. Would you anticipate 2026 also if you can't make it before? Yeah, we're definitely going in 2026. I don't have the dates just yet. We haven't solidified those. But yeah, we'll be getting ready to push those out probably a little bit towards the end of the year. I'm just not really sure yet. Just once we have everything nailed down, we'll be all right. Suggested reading materials to help discussions take place. I love that. Royetta, hopefully I'm getting your name right, sister. Yeah, I love that. We can recommend a few for you. That's good. That is actually a good suggestion, a great suggestion. Ashley, let's make sure that we write that down and let's make those. Because if you ask, I can, George and James, Stolen Legacy would be great for Egypt. The Nile Valley Civilization. I think that Sheikh Anta Diop was always a great read. I have to brush up on my Morocco recommendations. I'm not strong in Moroccan history. I'm learning. I got some good stuff about 1591. I'll be talking about that a little bit. So I want to beef that up. But good question. And yeah, we can reach out to our particular guides in the areas and then see what are they recommending. I love to talk to the local people on the ground and see what do they recommend. It's just they have a different lens of the place than us. So I love to tap into that. All right. Oh, did I put up the Morocco date? It was only one date for Morocco, March 21st through the 30th. So we're kicking that one off. That's going to be a great experience. So hopefully y'all can join us on one of these trips. All right, I am back. All right, any other questions that you might have? Because Dr. Anita insists that I go for an hour anyway. So I was prepared. I was prepared. No, I love it. I love the questions. I love the interest that we have in the motherland. They are literally lying about what is happening on this continent. So it's just always great to go see it for yourself. It's a beautiful history, some beautiful experiences there, and just one we really want to share with you. So if you have any additional questions, you can always submit an email to support@urbanintellectuals.com. I did. Almost, Ashley. I almost got out of here getting it right. Support@sankofaexperiences.com. Support@sankofaexperiences.com. And we call it the Sankofa Experiences because Sankofa is a word out of the Twi language of Ghana that means to go back and get it. So let's go back into our history, let's go back into our culture and bring that forward with us. Thus, we call these our Sankofa Experiences. There you go. Support@sankofaexperiences.com. Yeah, and when you click the link, you can see all the payment information. When you start the book, it'll lay out how many months you have, what your payment will be leading up to it. There's opportunities to apply for Afterpay, Klarna, and Affirm so that you can get the trip paid up front there and then work out the payment schedule with them, which can be a lot longer. If you were thinking about doing a trip either this year or even the Moroccan experience there in March, then also on that particular sheet, you'll be able, that link, you'll be able to see the itinerary, right? Each day of where we're going, what we're doing, all of that is broken down for you there. As I mentioned, we got a special guest on August the 13th, Travel Talk coming out. I'm going to have a great interview and conversation with this individual. Y'all thought I was going to give it away with the gender, didn't you? Nope, I didn't. And then also on August the 15th, we're going to do a deep dive into the Moroccan experience. So you'll have an opportunity to see that if you registered there. Ashley is dropping those links down. And then, of course, this Saturday, August 3rd, we have our Black History Symposium. Stolen Identity is our conversation. We have a wonderful lineup. Ernest Krim III. Oh, I got his book right here, too. Been trying to get through it, though. Black History Saved My Life. I don't know if y'all seen this brother's work online, but he's doing great stuff. So he's coming out to talk about our identity conversation. We have Dr. Asada Moore coming out from the Black Math Genius program to talk about mathematics and our identity as scientists on this planet. And then what else do we got? We got Gwen Ebron. Yeah, Gwen is one of our teachers inside of our Black History classes, but she's coming out as well to have this discussion. We're just going to keep pounding and digging into our history and our culture. And through our travel arm, we allow you an opportunity to go see it. So you can learn it with Urban Intellectuals and we can go see it together in our beautiful curated travel experiences. Bam, there we go. All right, I got it all out. Okay, any final questions for me? Going once, going twice. Third time's a charm. No, I know when I get my stuff together, then y'all like to ask the question towards the end. I love it. All right. But if not, that's gonna do it for me and my time. I appreciate y'all joining me for another edition of our Travel Talk Tuesdays. Oh, question at the end. There we go. I knew it. I love it. All right. We leave from where? This is Egypt, right? You're talking about Egypt. We're flying into and leaving out of Cairo. So you will fly into Cairo and then leave out of Cairo, right? So we're going to get you back. You fly into Cairo. We're going to take a domestic flight down to Luxor. That travel is included in the price. Then we'll cruise the Nile down to Aswan, and then we'll fly back to Cairo. And all those flights are included. So you'll fly into Cairo and out of Cairo. Oh, New York. Oh, yeah, you can fly in from anywhere, Juanita. That is totally fine. Some people will be flying from New York, some from Atlanta, and then I believe Houston is another international port as well. Oh, and DC, right? So people will be, whatever makes most sense for you. 9 times out of 10, you may end up, I'm in Chicago, right? So if I buy a flight, it's rarely direct. It's going to be Chicago to New York, then New York to Cairo, or I might have to go through Europe or whatever the pricing is, right? Whatever deal I can find. And I think I mentioned to y'all, like when I'm booking my deals, I go to Google Flights. I use Google Flights. I use Expedia.com. And then I have an Amex card. So I'm always in the Amex portal. Oh, and I pay for this service. Point.me. Point.me. It's like $125 a year if you have rewards points, like from your, Amex card, your Chase card, your hotel card, all of these things. If you order point.me, you can load in all of your rewards-based credit cards or offerings, and then search for trips, and it will calculate which reward points and which reward combination that you should use best, that most maximize that trip for the best bang for your reward dollar points, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, but it's a pretty cool operation. So a lot of times I'm on there, and then it'll tell me, hey, if you transfer your Amex points to Delta, then go into Delta and order this flight, you get the most bang for your buck. It might be a direct flight. It might be upgraded to, business class or whatever, which I'm looking forward to now, because my way back last time, they ruined my life and gave me first class. That was a great experience, but woo, paying for it outright, I don't know if it was that dope. I don't know if it was that good of an experience, but it was definitely a good experience. All right, so yeah, but I was gonna lie. I've flown out of Dallas, I think it's Dulles Airport, and out of New York. So I've done both. JFK, like it just matters. To me, it just matters on the best price that I can get for my money, right? Like I'm not a regular first class flyer. I don't know. I count my coins, right? Making sure I maximize that flight. So, all right, good question. All right, so any other questions you have? If I didn't answer, you can always shoot the email to support@sankofaexperiences.com. Support@sankofaexperiences.com. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all on Saturday. If you have any questions, make sure you drop them in. I appreciate y'all joining me every Tuesday for our travel talks and these discussions about traveling the African diaspora, learning about it and experiencing it ourselves. So I appreciate y'all. Good afternoon, everyone. Have a good day. Yes, appreciate y'all joining me. This was good.